This video is the product of the Functional Cranial Release Research Institute. For difficult neurologic conditions that no one seems to have answers for, visit functionalcranialrelease.com.
After everything I've tried, this is one thing so far that's provided me with some hope. Like I told you, like more stable, I feel more grounded, I feel more even keel than I have in quite some time.
Yeah.
And that's a really good feeling. Try anything else like I have. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's being innocent. You're living in a prison, you know. And from where I came with the EI and chemical sensitivity, that was horrendous. I mean, honestly, I don't know. If it weren't for all the support I had from my family, I wouldn't have made it. And the fact that I'm just like, I'm a stubborn son of a bitch, man. And I refused to go out that way. And normally, at like 30 minutes in the car, I start getting like really, almost like I shouldn't even be on the road driving because I get really agitated. I get probably one of those asshole drivers, right? Just you just get really aggressive and road rage and almost like disoriented. I don't even know where I'm at. I lose my sense of direction. I start getting like this real intense feeling in the back of my head, and I'm just like, I'll notice I'm holding onto the steering wheel so tight, that my white knuckle, and I'm like, just weird, just out of control. Like you have no
phones bother you and computers.
Yeah, phones. I could be on the phone, maybe 5 or 10 minutes on a cordless landline, and then the same thing. I can tell when I'm talking to someone because all of a sudden I start getting really. I don't let them talk. I start getting aggressive, almost like arrogant. Cutting the other person off, and then I start getting really sweaty, and I start being obnoxious, and I'm like, and I'm like, all right, I got to get off the phone. I know I can start to feel it coming on. I'm like, all right, I got to get off the phone, and it'll take me like a day to recover from that exposure. Like I won't sleep that night. I'll be agitated the rest of the day.
So now,
computer will be like, start frying my hand. Starts going up my arm and then the back of my head, and I just like it's been, well, yesterday, I mean, you saw what I was like when I came in, and by the time I left, I mean, I really did. I felt totally different, like certainly mentally, and just my whole perception of everything changes, right? Like
in an instant.
It does, right? Like, it's hard to even explain. Like, just on the drive here, it was like, you don't see the beauty in anything. Everything's gray. You're just like, I was just angry. I was, just didn't want to be alive, basically. How do I explain it? I was trying to explain it to my mom and dad last night, too. And it's like, it's a weird sensation, right? I don't even know if I can put it in words.
I think you actually said it felt good yesterday.
It did feel good. Like right after, it was like, just all this pressure was like relieved. It was just felt a little lightheaded. Like that endorphin rush. Even after like a good cervical adjustment.
Yeah.
You get.
Yeah.
I just knew that something was different immediately. Yeah, excited about the prospect of feeling good, which. As a fantasy, but yet sometimes I wouldn't even let myself go there. And now
also you had mentioned like the prospect of sharing this with other people because you know so many folks that have the problem.
I was just thinking last night, so many people that I know, and I was real curious to see like what the effect would just be on someone who has EI or chemical sensitivity. Maybe not so much the EMF. I wonder if that, and now I know too. Obviously, there's like this huge emotional component, but there's also a physical component. There's so much to it, and no one is addressing all of that.
I'm out there in internet world, Okay, and I've got EMS, and the question I would have for you would be, why would this work? Why would a manipulation using a balloon in the nose, releasing this, what is this going to do for my EMS, and how would it work?
That's a good question. Electrical.
Right.
That's how it functions. And your cranial bones are supposed to move and allow everything to flow. And if something's locked up in there, which apparently it was, it's putting pressure on the whole nervous system, which puts you in a state where you're just sensitive to everything. And then your body, which everyone can sense electromagnetic fields, but most people don't react to them. And for whatever reason, my nervous system was in such a hyperreactive state that it almost used, anytime it sensed EMF, it used that as an opportunity to put me in discomfort, to let me know something's not right. And it would appear that we've gone to that source of distress and corrected that.
I think we were talking on the phone when you initially called, or I called you back, and you had asked me, well, why would this work? And I think I had told you that, the brain has got this apparatus, just like dolphins do, to detect all these things, and we have the ability, our brain's just suppressing it all. And like 90% of the information is being suppressed, otherwise we'd be just overloaded with all this information.
That's what separates the conscious from the unconscious.
And when the brain starts to go south, we lose that suppression, that inhibition. And when that happens, then we get just too much, TMI.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because I know an electrician who can feel electricity, can feel the wires, but it doesn't bother him. It doesn't have an adverse effect. You're like more stable. I feel more grounded. I feel more even keel than I have in quite some time.
Yeah.
And that's a really good feeling.
Hi, this is Dr. John. Thanks for joining me. If you or a loved one suffers from difficult neurologic conditions that no one seems to have answers for, send them to functionalcranialrelease.com. You can contact me by phone or email me at askdrjl@gmail.com. And remember, if healing is possible, consider it to be within your reach. Bye for now.
functionalcranialrelease.com